welcome to another episode of the Pink Table Talk. I'm your host, Dana Johnson, and joining me today is my special guest, Chrisetta Guthrie. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It is an extreme pleasure to be able to have you here with me today, as we were brought together through a mutual friend. And it just kind of shows me the testament of the work that the Pink Table Talk has been able to do within this short time frame over the course of a year, and making certain that I am reaching the audience and letting people know what we can do in regards to outreach and services in that respect. So I appreciate you being able to join me today to share your story.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So if we could just begin the conversation with you telling me a little bit about your backstory as a breast cancer survivor, and kind of as people relate to it in the breast cancer community, sharing like your anniversary and your birth date, if you will.
Okay. I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma and HER2 positive breast cancer in September of 2020. It was a month after my 48th birthday. After I was diagnosed, it was just a flurry of appointments and procedures that I had to go through. My first treatment was in October of 2020. And after my first treatment went well, but unfortunately, the port that I had placed in got infected. So my blood got infected. So I was septic. So I almost died if I hadn't have gotten where I needed to in time. So I was admitted to the hospital in ICU for 6 days. And then after my 6 days, I spent 5 in a regular room. So I was in the hospital for 11 days. I was away from all of my family. I couldn't have any visitors. I didn't realize the magnitude of how lonely I was until after I got my mind back right. And once I got back home, I didn't realize how serious my condition was until I started to get better. And I did get better. After that, all of my other treatments went well. I had the support of my girlfriend, who was there to take care of me, had the support of my young sons. Well, not my young sons, but they're teenage boys. Mm-hmm. I had their support. Mom, you'll be fine. You'll get through this. Had the support of my ex-husband, who just supportive. And I had 2 of my close friends checking on me every single day. So that makes a big difference. Having people to support you and love you makes a big difference. And it's okay to ask for help, because I never really needed to ask for help until I was in the ICU. And when I was in the ICU, I could not do anything for myself. People have talked about, other people being in a position where someone has to wipe your butt. Mm-hmm. I was in that position where I could not get up on my own at all, even though my mind was, you can do this, you can get up. My body was like, no, you can't. So being in the ICU during that time, and just this whole time in general, has taught me that it's okay to ask for help.
And I'm glad you did, so that we could have you here today to be able to share your story, because there are probably others who have suffered through this or are currently going through it and feeling as though that there is no community, or there is no outreach, or feeling too confident within themselves to ask for that help. So it's a pleasure to be able to hear that side of it from you and hear you come out on the other side successfully. So
yes.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned being diagnosed in 2020 and having to go through the surgery. How did that make you feel in regards to the current state of the pandemic, and just not being able to have like that access that you would normally be used to?
It made me a little scared.
Okay.
Because one of the scariest things that my doctor told me, other than the fact that I had cancer, mm-hmm. but that he told me, you cannot get COVID. And he was very adamant about that. So that had me in the house which worked out because with my job, we were able to work home for that year or so.
Okay.
So I didn't have to be in the office and I didn't have to expose myself to anything. So the only thing I did was go from home to my doctor's appointments, and that was it. So I was in the house and I was scared because I did not want to get anything. I didn't want to get anything else, especially after I had been in the hospital all those days. And I did have a few COVID tests before I had different procedures during the pandemic, and I wound up being negative. So I did something, I did something right.
Yes.
Right.
Were there times where you felt like you maybe just wanted to speak with others that had shared their story as survivors, or just wanted to be able to have a conversation with someone who had gone through it, and how you're able to get to the state that you are now? I know we kind of talked a little bit behind the scenes as to some services that I could provide, but what were some thoughts in your mind where you were just like, I just wish I had like that one person or a group or someone, that I could speak to so that others can know that those services are available?
I wish I did, because I didn't at that time. I didn't get linked up with two different, I'm involved with three different Facebook groups.
Okay.
And I didn't get linked up with them until after I started my post-cancer journey. And I wish that I had have known about those beforehand, because right now they have been very helpful to me. And I like being in there because I can be helpful to others and I can give others, information. There have been people who have similar diagnosis and they've always looking for, advice and tips. So that is a great place for people to start, is within those groups. And within those groups, then you can develop personal relationships, and then you can get your support system through that.
Yes. And it's a safe place because you have similarities and you can feel comfortable, just within being able to share and ask the questions that others that are, of course, being supportive of you, but just may not have that understanding. So it's good that you did seek it out.
Yes.
Yes. Are there anything or is there anything that you feel that you would like to share for others who may be going through it and have young children? You mentioned having teenagers and being able to have that conversation with them and how they would be able to cope.
I have learned over the past probably 2 years that your children are old enough to know, depending on their age. For me, I have a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and an almost 14-year-old. So I was able to be open with them in regards to what I was going through. And depending on the age of some people's children, you have to pretty much be open with them on the level that you can be open with them. Just let them know if you're sick, because there's going to be some moments where you can't do what you normally do. For one example, for me, my oldest loves brownies. And he was like, Mom, I would love for you to make brownies. And I sat at my kitchen table and I cried. And my girlfriend was like, why are you crying? I said, because I don't have the energy to make my child's brownies. And she came up with a solution for me. She was like, well, you can sit at the table. And I sat at the table and she got all the ingredients out for me. And I sat at the table because I was, during that time, there was moments where I was really weak. So I sat at the table, put all the ingredients together, and she stirred it up for me and put it in the oven for him. So those things are rough. But during the pandemic, they weren't involved in any of their sports, any of the soccer. So I wouldn't have been able to help them with that. And good thing their dad was around for all those things. But just be kind to yourself. Realize that what you're going through, just be kind to yourself, because it's okay. I didn't have any control over it, of what was happening to me. I could just do the best that I could do, and everyone else around me understood that.
That's awesome. And I mean, it just gave you that still sense of community and sense of self-worth, because I'm sure that it was important to you to be able to have that moment with them. So having somebody that's so supportive to allow you to still be able to be a part of that and engage within that experience, still just allow, just that personal time for family.
Right.
So
right.
That's amazing. Is there anything that you feel now, having coming out on the other side, and me noticing a couple days ago that you shared an anniversary moment in regards to your diagnosis and survivorship, that you would like to share for viewers who may be listening here in Wisconsin or across the country?
It's, what can I say? I may be done with the medicine and the treatment, but the fight will continue, not just for me, but for others, because granted, the strides that they've made are good, but I also understand that not everyone has access to what I did. And it's just that my thing right now is I just want to be there for others, and just for people to know that, it's going to be a journey, because I have no idea what to expect. I try to stay positive, and even after we're clear, we still have it in the back of our head, but we can't live our lives like it may come back. We just have to, live on. And for me, what brings me joy is being able to talk to others and to give others insight. And I think when we have that, like I had that, I think it makes it a lot easier, because I realized that no one could take the medicine for me. That's something that we have to do, each as women that have breast cancer. We have to do that on our own. But having people that support you and love you and let you know that you can get through it is what's important, and to seek those individuals out that's going to support your journey.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you just taking the time out today to share parts of your story with me and with the viewers. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take you up on what you mentioned and your give back and just paying it forward. So as the Pink Table Talk develops and begins to grow in 2022, we will have webinars and seminars and opportunities for women and men who are suffering from breast cancer, to just be able to have that opportunity where they can gather together in small groups or larger groups and be able to give back and share their stories and offer their advice for those who are going through it. So please,
absolutely,
be on the lookout for that as well. And any final thoughts before we wrap today?
No, just thank you for, it's great to see your face, and just thank you for having me on this platform. And I'm hoping that what I'm sharing will help someone. Is definitely helping me, because the more I share my story and what I'm going through, the more it helps me heal and feel better.
Well, I thank you as a representative of the Pink Table Talk, but also a now new board member with the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition and advocate on the national level. I'll be able to provide additional services in making certain that our voices are heard and that we do have that representation at the table across the country. So I appreciate you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please continue to follow the Pink Table Talk on social media. We are available on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can look forward to this coming episode on Sunday, November 21st. We appreciate you. Have a good evening. Bye. The Pink Table Talk will be offering our fabulously scented, custom labeled Pink Table Talk candle. Each one hand poured by Cheyenne Candles as a symbol of continuous support to the causes and awareness of breast cancer. The candle light, we'd like to say, represents an eternal flame that will burn in memory to the lives lost and in commemoration to those who continue the fight with cancer and our never-ending crusade to bring awareness.
Proceeds from purchasing go to the building of the Pink Table Talk advocacy and outreach, as well as our ability to support other programs and agencies in kind. Thank you for joining us.